Good afternoon, folks. I hope you can all hear me and see this much of me so far. So good to be here. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be back at Paisley Abbey. I was the Presby building officer for Clyde for a number of years, and this building was one of the projects that I helped the good local folk, Jan, Linda, Alex, and Jim, the minister, and that kind of people to get to where they are today. So it gives me immense satisfaction and pride to be here today. So I am a Presby building officer. So what really is that? In a nutshell, it's a building surveyor. Myself, I got a particular skill set in historic building conservation, which comes in handy for these big lumps, as you can imagine. I'm here with several of my other colleagues who are also PBOs, Presby building officers around different presbyteries of Scotland. And as mentioned, we assist congregations to make buildings better. It's that simple. So we help good local people, good local volunteers who are really, under a huge amount of pressure and strain given mission planning and building closures to make their buildings better. So we are the shining knights that come along to try to help people extract money from those people behind us and to make their buildings better. I'm also here in a capacity of supporting the Cherish project for NCT. I sit on the committee of that project to try to help and guide a national approach to making our buildings better for everybody who uses them. And without further ado, done that part. Good hat, good boots. That's my talk finished. I might as well just leave now. When I started my conservation career many moons ago, our director, who was feisty to say the want of a better word, drilled into us that good hat, good boots, and your job is kind of done. And it's never a truer statement. I love a good gutter nutter and all those things. So basically, it does what it says on the tin. Good roof, good drainage, good rainwater goods. Get the water away from your building, do that, and you're kind of onto a winner. So it doesn't matter what kind of hat you wear, whether it's a jaunty hat or a nice formal hat or whatever. Or again, with the boots, whatever floats your boat, just make sure it does what it does well. And that's why it's really imperative when it comes to the good hat, good boots mantra to not think of it as it's a next year's job, or we'll do that in 2 years' time, or it's not really that important, the quinquennial kind of things. Trust me, it is. This building has, what do I say the word suffered, but it's come under the same challenges all of our churches. Block gutters, and I'll show you as I flick through the slides. With the St. Mary Chapel over there, there's some hidden valleys and places to get to in the South Aisle here, and going further up to the tower. There's just, it seems like miles and miles and miles of gutters. So get those right and get the water away, and you're absolutely laughing. So what is maintenance? It's a good question. And this is Alex, who's back there. This is your arm, so it's making a little look. This is looking into the Marian Chapel, which is over here. You can see the myriad of roof pitches and inaccessible gutters, and just the challenges of actually getting there to clean those gutters and rotting those drains. It's never as simple as you think it is. So maintenance is basically looking and doing, this stuff isn't difficult. It's not rocket science. We're not putting people on the moon here, but that's kind of harder than the moon because it's very inaccessible. But it's about looking and inspecting the building. Myself and my colleagues, my fellow PPOs, are always telling congregations to just go and look at their building, walk around it. If something looks a bit fruity, well, that's probably dry rot. If something looks a bit weird, note it and pick it up and try to do something about it. Inspect your roof, a good pair of binoculars. I'm not advocating getting up there with ladders and ropes and all sorts of stuff. Leave that to us. And try to carry out proactive repairs. Being proactive it's a better economic approach to your building. Otherwise, if you get to the point where you're chasing symptoms and never getting to the root cause of an issue, then all the zeros stack up, and then these people behind us start to sweat when the EOIs come through their doors. So every year, clean out your gutters. I always say twice a year. It could be more depending on topography, overhanging trees, prevailing weather, and all that kind of thing. fix a slip slate as and when you see it, all those kind of things. So you're tackling your problems as you see them at a very early stage, and it will save money in the long run. So a lack of maintenance, it's the reason why old buildings decay. It really is. It's the reason why buildings fall apart and buildings just degrade in front of our very eyes. These are just a few pictures. Some of them are of the Abbey here, so apologies. They're there for a reason. So we can see that we have the St. Mary's Chapel at the top left. Hopefully you folks can see these. They will be circulated later on. And we're seeing flaking paint, and we're seeing water ingress into the wee building at the bottom here. And there's just the evidence of something is not quite right here. So that what we're trying to do is really spark curiosity as into what is causing this and why are things happening in our buildings. And this was a church, which I won't name these churches. I don't want to get like castigated from the Abbey. Like simple thing, like there was an open cast iron roof light in a church, which had been open for years. And suddenly that was causing a drip, and that drip became something else. And suddenly the money and the zeros went up. So it's by looking at your building and being really proactive, you're going to halt these issues in the future. Our car, our health, why not our buildings? We all get our car MOT'd. We all get ourselves MOT'd, hopefully, through the old National Health Service and that kind of thing. So why not our buildings? And again, Alex's arm, it's famous now. It's again in your gutter. So why not look at our buildings in terms of an MOT? That's just being proactive on an annual basis, keeping on check. On my very last slide is a maintenance calendar. And I do see the SPAB are here as well. So they've got some good maintenance calendars, which are a good way of just having a visual of what you do January, February, March, April, May, and so on and so forth. So it's making it part of the process for looking after a building on an annual basis. And of course, the need for this is we're in a climate change era. We're getting wetter, we're getting greater weather events across the country. Rainfall is increasing year on year. It's up by 20% from 1961 to 2004, and it's getting wetter. Our gutters can't handle the rain. Our rainwater goods, in some cases, are undersized. Our drains can't get the water away from a building fast enough. So by being thoughtful and proactive in terms of what our building needs, we can kind of mitigate as best we can climate change with our increased rainfall, particularly on the West Coast. Very, very quickly, roofs. And it's all about looking, and we've got a weird little alien friend here at the bottom left. He's over there, I think, on the south aisle. And so look at your roof, clear your gutters, clear your leaves. I've got to speed up here. Try to get to a vantage point if you can safely. We do from towers. We use drones, which is really good to see high-level stonework and that kind of thing. Rainwater goods. You've got staining. That's a wee blocked hopper, which you wouldn't have seen unless you got to the valley gutter. Choked leaves and duckboards, which are covering quite a horrendous run of lead on this double-pitched roof here. And that's me doing what I do best, looking at buildings. So stay safe, use your general tools like binoculars and ladders and the maintenance checklist. We also do the quinquennials every 5 years. We draft them up. What we don't do is, here's your report. There you go, we'll see you in 5 years' time. We go, here's your report, put the kettle on, sit down, we'll talk about how to fix your building. Don't take any risks. Please stay safe at all times, but use your common sense. I know it's in short supply sometimes, but use your common sense to look at your buildings and find what's going on and what's wrong with it. A very simple maintenance checklist. I mentioned the SPAB have got some faith in maintenance calendars over there, so they're just like an annual monthly task of what you can or what you should do to your building to keep it nice and wind and water tight. That's one I just grabbed from a website. I think it's Historic England, but it gives you a visual record of what you do to your building, so you know exactly what has been done and what hasn't been done and when it should be done going forward.